you don't think it can happen to you.
The hit-and-run chase in California, a motorcycle rider witnessing a driver slam into several cars and then speeding away.
It can happen to you within seconds, a blink of an eye.
Tonight about the man suspected of killing a woman in a hit-and-run and his plan to evade justice.
When you take your eyes off the road for just seconds, when you're driving your car, oh, yes, it can happen to you. See, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When the sands of time will run out within your hourglass.
New at 10, a hit and run caught on video, and now a teenager and his family are looking for the driver who took off.
He was a victim of a distracted driver hitting the road while riding his motorcycle going 65 miles per hour. He nearly lost his life. Now on a crusade to help save lives and prevent someone else from becoming a victim, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com and now the host of this podcast, it's Howard Drescher.
All right, welcome. Welcome to another show of DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. Yes, we are entering the time now. We are entering the 100 days of summer. And, of course, you know what that means. That means you got to be on your best behavior. You have to be vigilant when you're driving around. You have to be very mindful of the situation out there. Kids are out of school. Young teenagers who just graduated are actually getting behind the wheel for their very first summer. Motorcycle riders are out and about. Some new, some of them are veterans, as in veteran drivers. Some of them are probably military veterans as well. I'm your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com, and of course now this podcast show. You can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, and of course on Facebook, it's DistractedDB. On Twitter, at DistractedDBTV, and you can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. Just type in the keyword DistractedDB, and you can get all my archive shows. As I mentioned, we are in the starting gate of the 100 days of summer. Yes, the 100 days of summer. And if I remember right, last year, the 100 days of summer, well, let's just say, they were not very pleasant. They were not very kind to a lot of victims. And of course, a lot of perpetrators they weren't really kind to either, because some of them didn't make it. Some of them ended up, well, in the morgue. And some of them have guilt. Very few actually display it, but there's several of them that have guilt about what they did when they got behind the wheel after they were drinking, or when they get behind the wheel, speeding, texting, and driving, and they ended up crashing, hurting somebody, many times killing somebody. Maybe this summer will be different. Maybe this summer will be different. No guarantees, no promises. I can only hope. I'm hoping for everything to go smoothly this summer. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. That's all I can do at this time. I have no magic wand. I can only pray that people will be on their best behavior. But as the past couple of months has taught us, I don't think that's going to happen. Honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. And we're probably going to have a repeat of last summer with a lot of DUIs, a lot of hit and runs. A lot of people are screaming, why? How could this happen? I don't understand. Well, maybe now is the time to sit down and talk to your young drivers. And for the students and for the young drivers that are actually listening to this podcast, don't be afraid to tell your mom and dad, hey, you know, this texting and driving, and you're going well over the speed limit, and I'm in a car. Yeah, you got to rethink that thing. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I'd rather walk than be in a car with you and using this weapon or this vehicle as a potential weapon. Because that's exactly what it is. It is a potential weapon, whether you know it or not. Yeah, you can't stop a speeding bullet. You can't stop a speeding car from the rollovers, the mayhem, the total destruction that car will cost or the car will cause. We all know that cars cost a lot, but you know what I'm saying. So, slip of the tongue there. I got back on track now. Let's talk about what's really important. When we come back from commercial break, oh my God, an actor again, the same guy did it again, has done it again, and this time caught on camera, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I remember the first time he did it, I was shocked. I was totally shocked, and I was totally mystified that this actor did it. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Hey, another story that I got cooking up for you. An alleged DUI suspect is in court. Faces the judge. Get that reaction. And, of course, finally some good news. Some good news that are involving officers. Yes, I'm going to leave that one alone for a bit. When we are coming back, we'll talk about all this, and so much more. All right, you're listening to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. Whew. 100 days of summer, they're here. Oh boy, they are here. Let's see what can happen and what we don't want to happen. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to the DistractedDrivers.com podcast. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work.
Sorry, I'm late.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Now, back to the DistractedDrivers.com podcast.
All right. Welcome back to DistractedDriversBusted.com podcast show. I am your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com, and of course now this podcast show. You can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, and of course on Facebook, it's DistractedDB. And you can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Amazon. Just type in the keyword DistractedDB. Okay, we know now we're starting the 100 days of summer. That's right. Today is officially summer, probably, at least here in California. It started at 2:14 a.m. So now we have 100 days as of a few hours ago. So therefore, let's make the best of them. Let's make it so we don't have repeat situations that we did last year More about that in just a little bit. But right now, it is time for the...
And now it's time for the top story from the previous show.
It's now time for the top story from the previous show. And, of course, it comes from KTLA Channel 5 here in Los Angeles. And I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. And, again, a very sad situation. A father with 4 members of his family, including his wife, in the vehicle, gets into a crash. The car bursts up into flames. He managed to get one of the 2 kids out. Off-duty officers happen to see what's going on, stops to assist, but unfortunately, his wife was not able to get out in time, and with that said, unfortunately, she lost her life. And of course, after being there for just a little bit of time, the officers ended up arresting the father on DUI charges, or suspected of DUI charges. And why do they keep saying suspected of it when they know they can smell the alcohol on his breath? When they know exactly what happened, that terminology has to change. Because you say they're suspected. Well, that means they must have some kind of suspicion. You're innocent until proven guilty. I get it. But not when it comes to something like this. And again, thanks to KTLA Channel 5 here in Los Angeles for allowing me to use the sound.
That's right. 3 young girls will be raised without their mother after she was killed in a DUI crash. Authorities say the father was behind the wheel. Tonight, the family too distraught to go on camera. Dashcam video captures the horrifying moments the driver of a white Lexus veers off the highway into the right shoulder, slams into a highway sign before going airborne onto the embankment. The car quickly catches fire soon after. The solo vehicle accident happened on the westbound 118 freeway Thursday before midnight in Porter Ranch. Trapped inside a family of 5, going home from a graduation party.
There's a family of 5 inside the vehicle as it caught fire. LAPD Metro officers on their way home witnessed the collision, and they helped pull people out of the vehicle. Unfortunately, the flames became very intense.
Authorities say the driver of the vehicle, David Koechner of Northridge, was able to get himself and one of his children out of the burning car. First responders got 2 other kids out safely, but their mother, 31-year-old Xiomara Cohen, could not be extricated in time and died at the scene. Making the tragedy even worse, authorities would later discover that the father was allegedly driving under the influence and arrested on suspicion of DUI. The children, 3 girls ranging in age from 4 months to 9 years old, were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities say the chaos from the original crash led to an unrelated collision involving 3 other cars. And the 3 young girls have been released to other family members. The father is in jail tonight on $2 million bond. Reporting live, Carlos Salcedo, KTLA 5 News.
That was the top story from the previous show.
All right, that's the top story from the previous show, and I appreciate everybody who I am me letting me know that this is the top story, a very sad story, and I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, when we come back, oh yes, the actor who couldn't act his way out of this one. His second DUI offense in a short amount of time. Matter of fact, I think I talked about this the very first time it happened. We'll be back right after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about going for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Hey, there's no way you can hide it. If you drive drunk, they're gonna find you. So stop kidding yourself.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
Sir, have you been drinking this evening?
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
They will catch you and arrest you. Drive sober or get pulled over.
All right, welcome back to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I am your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com. And of course, now this podcast show. You can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, and of course on Facebook, DistractedDB. And you can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Amazon. Just type in the old keyword, DistractedDB, and that will bring up all my archive shows. All right, so here we are. Now we're in the middle of June. Now, I will tell you this for a fact. I want to say this happened about 6 months ago, the very first time that this actor who actually went ahead and got popped, maybe it might have been New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. And I could have swore I talked about that. Was one of the first things I talked about in 2022. Because I was so disappointed in this guy. I was so disappointed because this guy attended an event, one of my very first events that I dealt with, that I was invited to in honor with Connor several years back. And I remember him walking past me and I said, "Hey, hello, how's it going?" He's like, "Hey, it's fine. Here for the event, la-da-da." He was backing it. He was supporting it. And yet he gets popped. And now again. And now again, it happens again. And again, this story comes from Breaking News Now. I saw it online. And then I started checking around to see if it was true. And it was on several other websites as well. And here it is. Again, this sound comes from Breaking News Now, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound.
The Office actor David Koechner has once again been caught by the authorities allegedly driving under the influence. An Ohio state trooper purportedly pulled him over after seeing him swerve on the road shortly before 2 a.m. on June 4th, a law enforcement insider told TMZ. Koechner, 59, is claimed to have been ticketed for driving under the influence after the officers supposedly caught a whiff of alcohol on his breath. As seen last year, the Office actor David Koechner has once again been caught by the authorities allegedly drinking and driving. The Anchorman actor, who was in Ohio on tour, is allegedly slated to have a court date next month over the issue. Less than a full day after his encounter with the state trooper, Koechner hosted the Office Trivia Night in Ironton around the southern tip of Ohio. His latest legal troubles come 2 months after he was charged with DUI and hit and run after being arrested on New Year's Eve in California. TMZ reported that the Ventura County DA's office had charged Koechner with the 2 misdemeanor charges. The site noted that the entertainer would appear in court in a few weeks to determine if he would serve time or not. Trouble with the law. His latest legal troubles come 2 months after he was charged with DUI and hit and run after being arrested on New Year's Eve in California. Koechner was a first-time offender, so it was likely he would be punished with probation and an alcohol education course, avoiding jail time. At around 3 p.m. on December 31st, 2021, police in Simi Valley, California were called about an erratic driver. Koechner was asked to perform field sobriety tests, which he failed after allegedly hitting a street sign with his car. His vehicle was towed shortly afterwards. According to law enforcement, he had 2 flat tires when he was pulled over and blew a 13 in the field and 12 back at the station. Charged, the Ventura County DA's office has charged the Anchorman actor, 59, with the 2 misdemeanor charges. His original court date was scheduled for March 30th at the Ventura County Superior Court. 1 day after he was released from jail, Daily Mail.com obtained exclusive photos of the actor filling up a badly dented car at a Shell gas station, though it is not known if the car was the one involved in December 31st crash. Tour dates. Despite his legal woes, the comedian posted to Instagram on Thursday to promote his upcoming show in Oklahoma. Despite his legal woes, the comedian posted to Instagram on Thursday to promote his upcoming show in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, not Arizona. He crooned before stopping to say, it matters a lot. I'm coming for you, Oklahoma City. I'm talking about Thursday, March 31st, okay? And then we're going to roll into April, he said excitedly.
And again, that story comes from Breaking News Now, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. But this is the second time that this has happened. 6 months apart almost to the day. What the heck has happened? Actually, 64 days. 6 months, 4 extra days. It is insane that this kind of stuff happens. And I was so shocked the very first time that he was popped for a DUI arrest back on December 31st into March 1st. I was so shocked because I saw him at that event in Honor with Connor. It is so disheartening. Oh my gosh, I just can't. You know what? Let's just go on to the next story. We'll see where we go from there. Okay, this next story comes from WPRI 12, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. And this is where an alleged, and I know the audio on this is a little rough to hear, so we're going to get right to it right away. The audio is a little rough, so it's a suspect in court facing the judge after hitting a state trooper's vehicle back in the day.
I have the facts, please.
Mr. Honor, Tuesday, June 7th at approximately 12:40 a.m., there were troopers at an accident scene on Route 95 South at Route 37 forward. At approximately 1:09 a.m., one of the troopers that was on that scene was struck in the rear by a motorist, passenger motorist, in the third lane of travel. That vehicle was a green Nissan Versa with Rhode Island registration, and the operator was identified as Christopher Warner, date of birth 1/12/86. Troopers asked where he was coming from. He stated he was coming from a bar in Providence. They asked him if he had had anything to drink that night, and he stated he had 4 beers. The troopers detected a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from his breath. He had slurred speech and bloodshot watery eyes. He was asked to submit to a sobriety test, which he did when he failed. He was taken into custody, given his rights for use at scene at 1:27 a.m. The barracks was given his implied consent at 1:47 a.m. and he was offered a confidential phone call to be made at 1:49 a.m. and he agreed to submit a chemical test. The first phase was at 2:22 a.m. with a reading of 0.228, and the second phase was at 2:26 a.m. with a reading of 0.235. The trooper was in his cruiser at the time he was struck, and he was initially knocked unconscious. He was transported to Rhode Island Hospital for back neck injuries, concussion, and a ligament tear to the shoulder.
Can you afford an attorney?
I don't know.
Okay, if you don't know, then I'll make a referral to the public defender's office. Don't plead charges of felony bail.
Sure, Your Honor.
$5,000 for surety, and the PAC date is August 29th.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and again, that story comes from Breaking News Now, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. It's so disheartening when something like this happens. He's going to go to jail. You already heard, it was kind of hard to hear, but hopefully you heard, a felony bail. Felony bail, come on. Are we not? I know we hear it on the news every day. I know you watch the local news. I know you watch your network news, and they're talking about this kind of stuff all the time. Why is it a surprise when you get popped by the cops? And quite honestly, there should be no expression on your face except for guilt. Like, damn, I got caught. I'm too stupid. I'm just stupid. And that's exactly what it is. You're just too damn stupid when you get caught. It is so crazy that this is happening. All right, you're listening to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. Oh, my God. Finally, I got some good news coming up in the next story. Oh, yeah. This is some good news. We'll be back. Oh, boy. Utah, you're doing it right. Utah is doing it right. Thank you, Utah. We'll be back right after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about going for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Hey, there's no way you can hide it. If you drive drunk, they're gonna find you. So stop kidding yourself.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight? Sir, have you been drinking this evening?
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
They will catch you and arrest you. Drive sober or get pulled over.
All right, welcome back to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I'm your host, Howard Drexler, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com, and of course now this podcast show. You can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, and of course on Facebook, DistractedDB. And you can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Amazon. Just type in the keyword DistractedDB. Okay, so Utah has been utilizing motorcycle cops for a very, very long time. A very long time. 1930-something, 40-something. I'm not exactly sure. But they've always been, in a way, male-dominated until now. And again, this story comes from Fox 13 in Utah. And I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound.
As we near the 100 deadliest days on Utah roads, drivers can expect to see more motorcycle enforcement. UHP motor troopers are looking for seatbelt violations and speeders. Fox 13 News anchor Brian Schnee spoke to a new UHP motor trooper who will take to the road in just a few weeks and hopes to inspire more women to wear the uniform and serve.
Utah Highway Patrol has been using motorcycles since 1923. A full-time staff of more than 20 motorcycle troopers that features an all-male group until now.
It's definitely a challenging thing, and you just have to have the mental strength to get through it and push yourself through the entire class.
After passing a series of pre-screening testing and coursework, Trooper Kate Van Roosendaal will be UHP's first female motorcycle trooper.
It's a cool experience, I guess, but I don't want it to take away from all the hard work that all of the others had to do, for sure. All the guys definitely had to go through the exact same experience that I did, but it's a really cool thing.
Trooper Van Roosendaal grew up riding dirt bikes. While with UHP, she expressed interest in joining the motorcycle division.
I just kind of reached out and was like, I'll give it a shot, I guess, see what happens. And it just kind of worked out.
Over the years, a handful of other women have tried to go through motor school, but just didn't complete the course.
I had bruises from my mid-thigh all the way down to the bottom of my feet from the whole entire experience. And so it was just definitely like, keep going, keep going, keep going. It sucks. Your body hurts, your hands hurt, you can't pick stuff up at the end of the night.
A grueling few weeks of course training will now lead to a few more weeks of training on our roads before she hits the road for patrol.
I really hope it inspires other females to apply to highway patrol and try and be on motors with me. I need more females to come ride with me.
In Murray, Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
As the first female graduate from motor training, Trooper Van Roosendaal expects some drivers to be a little surprised when she approaches their vehicle. Just remember, her main goal is to keep the roads safe as we approach the summer travel season.
All right, and again, that story comes from Fox 13 in Utah, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. And it is true, very true, so true. Her job is there to keep everybody safe, and I hope she does that. And I hope she has a very successful tour doing what she's doing. All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Remember, today starts the 100 days of summer. Don't do anything foolish. Until next show, be safe.